Okay, good evening, everyone. We will now reconvene into open session. The time is now 7:32. So please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance with students from Creekside Elementary leading us in our pledges. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Okay. Please stay up there so we can recognize you guys. So we're very blessed to have third grader Daniel, is it Sapolin? Did I say it right?
Yes.
All right. Daniel, are your parents here?
Yes.
Okay, would they please stand up and be recognized? And fifth grader Kira Young. Are her parents here? Stand up and be recognized.
Wait, brother. Okay. Come on up, Rob.
Thank you so much. We enjoy you guys leading in the pledges. Well, welcome everybody. This is the meeting of the board, are open to the public, but are not meetings of the public. The Lewisville ISD Board of Trustees meets monthly in a regular meeting to receive reports from staff and take action on recommendations from the superintendent. The board receives the agenda and all supporting documentation approximately 10 days in advance of regular meetings, which allows us to ask and receive questions to many of our questions in advance of the regular meeting. In addition, the board has begun conducting work sessions where staff presentations are given for many of the agenda items. This change in protocol means lengthy discussion or a litany of questions on every agenda item of the agenda often is not necessary. And as a board, we should have appropriate knowledge and preparation for responses regarding the content of our meeting tonight. So consideration, action on items discussed in closed session. Would someone like to make a motion?
Ms. Cox, I move that all personnel recommendations be approved as presented by administration.
That's a motion by Ms. Prosnick. Do we have a second? Second by Ms. Hassett. All in favor? Okay, that's 7-0. Motion carries. Administration contract recommendations for the school year for 2018-2019. Would somebody like to make a motion? Ms. Timish?
Ms. Cox, I move that the administrative contract recommendations for school year 2018-2019 be approved as presented by administration.
That's a motion by Ms. Timish. Do we have a second? Second by Ms. Sheffield. All in favor? That's Ms. Sheffield, Ms. Sells, Ms. Cox, Ms. Timish, Ms. Hassett, Ms. Prosnick. Any noes? It's Mr. Miller. So it's 6-0. 6-1, sorry. Okay, we have recognition, student spotlight. Samantha Brim.
Lewisville ISD is excited to share that 47 students district-wide recently earned their All-State Musician status. In order to achieve this honor, student musicians must compete in 3 rounds of auditions against thousands of students statewide. The All-State audition process for winds and percussion students leads ultimately to qualification in one of 7 All-State bands that perform at the annual Texas Music Educator Association's conference. The All-State audition process for string students ultimately leads to qualification in one of 3 All-State orchestras that perform at the annual TMEA convention. The All-State audition process for choir students leads ultimately to qualification in one of 4 All-State choirs that perform at the annual TMEA convention. Congratulations to all our student musicians for earning such a prestigious honor.
evening. My name's Brent Biscup. I'm band director, Flower Mound High School. This is Darren Hicks. He's also a band director at Flower Mound High School. This is Johnny Nahara, a sophomore on trumpet. Matthew Warner, a junior on bassoon. Griffin Holt, a junior on contra-clarinet. Alex Fuchwanger, a senior on clarinet. Rhett Carlin, a sophomore on contrabassoon. Carly McCann, senior English horn. Tristan Broadfoot, senior clarinet. And not here, Zoe Bixler, senior on piccolo. And Miranda Smith, a sophomore on French horn. I would also like to take a moment to thank Miss Lale and Mr. Skelton, principals, Flower Mound High School, FM9. And if you're a parent of one of these wonderful children, can you stand and be recognized for us, please?
They're going to want your picture.
How are you? Good, thank you.
Good. Hey, congratulations. Thanks for being here.
Good evening. My name is Lindsay Swartwood. I'm one of the choir directors at Flower Mound High School. This evening we have, closest to me, we have Sam Airy. He is a senior, tenor 2. Then we have Timothy Thomas, a junior, tenor 1. Next to him is Jacob Sampson, junior, bass 1. And at the end we have Jeremy Rohr, senior, tenor 2. And not present with us this evening is Zachary Rohr, and he is a sophomore, bass 2. And do we have any of their parents present with us tonight? If you can go ahead and stand.
How you doing? Great
see you.
to see you. Yeah. Good evening, Stephen Klink, Orchestra Director, Flower Mound High School. Tonight we have with us Ashwin Narayanan. He's a sophomore violist. We have with us Senior Shannon Zhao, violin. Not able to join is Peter Kwok, Senior viola. Are there any parents for them present tonight? We'd also like to recognize you. Thank you.
Top level. Let's go.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Andy Seeley. I'm the band director at Hebron High School. Thank you very much for having us out and allowing us this opportunity. I want to introduce these students to you. Closest to me, this is Nina Kang. She's a senior. She's a flute player. This is Grace Shao. She plays flute, and she's a sophomore. This is Lindsay LeMay. Lindsay plays E-flat, soprano, clarinet, and she's a senior. And this is Erin Min. Erin is a sophomore, and she plays clarinet. This is Jaden Sylvie next. Jaden also plays clarinet. She's a junior. We start with the gentleman here. This is Shiwan Hong. Shiwan is a junior. He plays clarinet. And then we have Jonathan Asplund. He is a sophomore, plays bassoon. Peyton Joffrey plays bari sax. He is also a sophomore. Craig Schroeder plays trumpet. He is a sophomore. And Shinrei Cardozo. Shinrei plays French horn, and she is a sophomore. This is Chance Hoang. Chance is a junior, and he plays trombone. And then Drew Carroll plays bass trombone, and he is a sophomore. And then Alonzo Mascaro is a euphonium player, and he's a junior. And on the end, Bruce Moe, who's a junior and plays alto saxophone. I want to recognize our administrators that are here, Mr. Scott Finch, principal, and Amanda Wernicke. Ms. Wernicke here at Hebron Freshman Center. And then any parents, and there's several in the audience, would you please stand so we can recognize you as well? Thanks, Mom and Dad.
Good evening. My name is Rachel Forster. I'm the choir director at Hebron High School, and I'm delighted to introduce you to Sheridan White, a senior soprano one from the mixed choir this year. And able to attend was Addie Thrower, our junior soprano in the treble clef, in the treble choir. You can tell where my mind is, right? Thank you again, and I'd like to ask Sheridan's parents to stand and be recognized. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Matthew Kotovar, orchestra director at Hebron, and we had 5 all-staters this year, 4 are present. So I'd like to introduce to you from my left here, Grace King, sophomore violinist, Elizabeth Way, junior violinist, Alice Way, freshman violist, and Isaac Key, senior cellist, and Mrs. Way, mother of Alice and Elizabeth, is in the audience today. So these are the Hebron Orchestra.
Congratulations.
Good evening. I'm Amanda Drinkwater. I'm very proud to present our all-state students in the Marcus Band Program. Closest to me is Ben Ruiz, a sophomore French horn player, J.C. Rosengren, a senior trumpeter, Sophia Lee, a sophomore oboist, and Alex Kang, also a sophomore oboist. We would like to thank and bring up Mr. Schaeferman, and if Ms. Upshaw is here, and thank them for their support. And if we can have any parents of these students, please stand and let us thank you as well.
Good evening. My name is Wes Davis, and I'm one of the choir directors at Marcus High School. We're very fortunate to have 4 all-state choir members this year. Going from nearest me, I have Annalise Gordon, senior, soprano 1 in the treble choir. Colton Evans, junior, bass 2 in the all-state mixed choir. Savannah DeCrow, sophomore, alto 1 in the treble choir. And Josh Korzat, bass 1 in the tenor bass choir. I wanted to thank our administration, Mr. Schaeferman and Jason Mullen, I know, administration here. And if we have any parents that would like to stand up right now, we'd love to recognize you as well.
Good evening. I'm pleased to introduce to you Matthew Wilson, a junior bass clarinet student making contralto bass clarinet in the 5A State Symphonic Band. I know his parents could not be here tonight, but are still very proud of him. And I'd also like to recognize Dr. Tim Baxter, principal at the Colony High School.
Both Flower Mound and Marcus High Schools had students bring home top honors at the Texas Association of Future Educators Annual State Teach Tomorrow Summit. FMHS received blue ribbons in chapter yearbook, teacher creative materials and bulletin board, as well as a prestigious gold medal SIL award in portfolio category. In addition, FMHS received a national qualification in the Exploring Education Administration Careers category. MHS won Outstanding Taffy Chapter. The Marauders also received blue ribbons in the following categories: Teacher Create Materials Event, Project Visuals for Recreation, Fundraising, Leadership, Education, and Service, and Portfolio. One team claimed a Gold SIL Award for their breakout session presentation. In addition, Marcus received national qualifications for Inside Our Schools, Lesson Plannings and Delivery, Children's Literature for Pre-Kindergarten, Impromptu Lesson Planning, and Delivery and Impromptu Speaking. Congratulations, future educators. LISD is proud of you.
Thank you so much for having us here tonight. My name is Claudia Bell, and I am the teacher and advisor of this wonderful group at Flower Mound High School. I'd like to thank our principal, Ms. Sonia Lale, for her continued support of us. She's always supported these programs, and we are so appreciative of that and her presence here tonight. First of all, we have Courtney Moitz, and she did 8 hours of job shadowing with an assistant superintendent in a neighboring district, and she qualified for nationals in exploring education administration careers, and will be competing in June in Orlando, Florida this year. So congratulations to her. She also competed in bulletin board and got a blue ribbon in that. And then next we have Maggie Muse and Abby Russell. They competed together as a team in bulletin board and received a blue ribbon in that as well, the highest that you can receive. And then we have Sharon Yoon. And I knew I'd get nervous up here. I've got cheat sheets, so of what everybody did. Sharon and Seyoung Choi competed in teacher-created materials, and they received a blue ribbon in that. The two of them, along with Tessa Welch and Sage Pruitt, our chapter historian, competed in chapter yearbook and received a blue ribbon. And on the end, we have Yenna Park. And Yenna competed in portfolio, receiving a blue ribbon there, and she was a finalist in education Educators Rising moment, where she made a speech about her moment when she knew she wanted to become a teacher. I know that we have several of their parents in the audience. I'd like to recognize them and thank them for their continued support as well. You can stand. Thank you.
Go back with me. Good evening. My name is Kim Watson. I am the teacher leader of the Marcus chapter of the Texas Association of Future Educators. It is my pleasure every day to get to work with these young ladies, but I'd like to thank their parents that are in the audience. Would you guys please stand, ladies? And as their teacher leader, it's my job to step back and let the ladies run the chapter. So I'm going to turn this over to one of my officers to introduce you to the next chapter of Lewisville ISD teachers, I'm hoping.
Me too.
Yeah. Lindsay, will you take over and introduce your team for me?
Hello, I'm Lindsay Kearns, and I am the Marcus High School Vice President for our chapter. And today we have Brooke Linker, Callie Getz, who is also a regional officer, Taylor Mendoza, Laura Minion, who is also a national ambassador, and then we have Susie Esquivel, Adrian McNally, Haley Pittman, and Alana Baxter.
Ladies, would my blue ribbon winners step forward? These ladies won a blue ribbon. They scored 90 or above in their event. I'll have them take a step back. You'll notice some are going to stay forward. The other young ladies you see on the stage are advancing to a national contest. And I believe Alana is going in 2. Am I right, Alana? You have 2 events? Yes, so congratulations, ladies. It's my pleasure to work with you. Mr. Schaeferman, would you come join us?
Perfect. And then I'm going to. Perfect.
The 2018 UIL State Swimming and Diving Meet was held at the University of Texas at Austin in February. Congratulations to all the student athletes from Lewisville ISD who competed, including 2 students who placed in the top 3 in the respective events. The Colony High School's Emma Garfield claimed the 100-meter breaststroke championship title and took 2nd place in the 200 individual medley, both accomplishments she claimed for the 2nd year in a row. In addition, she set the 5A state record in the 100-meter breaststroke this year. From Marcus High School, Tyson Stacy earned 3rd place in the 1-meter diving for the 2nd year in a row. Congratulations, Emma and Tyson.
Good evening. My name is Shannon Gillespie. I'm the head coach at Marcus Swimming and Diving, and I'd like to introduce our district coach. She coaches all 5 high schools, Sherry McGuire.
I'm honored to introduce senior at Marcus High School, Tyson Stacy. Took 2nd at district, 1st at region, and back-to-back bronze medals at the state meet. Also, first team All-American. First team All-Texas State, and he was All-American last year.
Mr. and Miss Stacy, would you please stand up? And thank you for the honor of being here. Thanks for coming up, Mr. Schaeferman.
With that cap on, huh? How are you doing, Coach? Good to see you.
Good evening. I'm Coach Jennifer Peel, and I am very proud and honored to get to introduce Miss Emma Garfield. She was state champion in the 100 breaststroke this year and broke the 5A state record. Yay, Emma! She also took second place in the 200 IM. And I would like to thank for the continued support of Dr. Baxter and Coach Rangel. If we could recognize Emma's family. Stand up. Yay!
Marcus High School students in the Rho Kappa Honor Society recently claimed first place in the Speak Up, Speak Out High School Division category at the 2018 State Civics Fair at the State Capitol Building in Austin. Speak Up, Speak Out participants work together as teams to identify community problems, craft innovative solutions that address them, and compete for the chance to present their findings to the community leaders at the State Civics Fair. Winning teams receive funds to use towards the implementation of their solutions. The MHS team, Shine the Light, presented information about lack of light at a local intersection near campus in which 3 safety issues have occurred within the last year. And then they proposed a solution that would address and solve the community concern. Congratulations, Shine the Light. LISD is proud of you.
Good evening. I'm Chad Taylor. I am the facilitator, adult sponsor of these fine young ladies and gentlemen of Team Shine the Light. This is Rho Kappa Honor Society. Each one of these students have 6 or more social studies credits to graduate and participation in civic advocacy, something that Lewisville ISD has taken up this last school year, very much so. Members of the team, right here standing beside me is Landon Bricky. And then we have Bianca Matranka, we have Abby King in the middle, we have Mira Urashima, and then Amanda Duke at the very end. In the audience, we have Mr. Gary Schaeferman, principal, and Mr. Jason Mullins, assistant principal at Marcus High School. Come on up, Mr. Schaeferman. And if you're a parent of the group, please stand and be recognized as well.
Briar Hill Middle School Library Media Specialist Trila Wiesner was recently named Texas Computer Education Association's 2017-2018 Library Media Specialist of the Year, an award that recognizes a Texas certified librarian media specialist who actively promotes the integration of technology and works collaboratively with administrators, teachers, and students to promote and support the integration of technology throughout the curriculum. 2 great examples of Ms. Wiesner's dedication to students include Briar Hill's 24-hour world tour, an engaging lesson and opportunity for students to visit and talk with people on all 7 continents and multiple countries across the world via Skype in 24 hours. And it doesn't stop there. This year, Ms. Wiesner ensured student learning went out of this world. After 2 years of planning, Ms. Wiesner successfully coordinated a NASA downlink with the International Space Station, an event that unfolded in front of more than 1,000 people and drew many special guests from across the state. To say Ms. Wiesner is an amazing library specialist would be an understatement. Thank you for all that you do for our students and staff, Ms. Wiesner.
My name is Chris Mattingly. I'm the principal at Briar Hill Middle School, and for the last 10 years, I've been able to keep Trila a secret as the best librarian in the state of Texas. And as you can tell, TCA went and run it for me and made it official, named her the best librarian in the state. She's awesome. She does a fantastic job, and well deserving of the award and this recognition. We have Jeff Wiesner, her husband. Jeff, you want to come up here? Congratulations. Yes. So, Briar Hill faculty. Why don't y'all stand up? Yeah. Give them a round of applause.
Scoot over that one.
The Woodworking Machinery Industry Association named Dale Jackson Career Center mill and cabinet maker instructor Joe Davis its 2018 Educator of the Year, an award presented to an educational institute or company with a structured curriculum tailored to training individuals for careers in the woodworking industry. In the last 23 years, Davis has educated more than 1,200 students at Dale Jackson. Leading the way in wood manufacturing and technology, Davis's classes focus on traditional woodworking and furniture making while remaining aware of new technological advances and changes occurring in the industry. Through his instruction, students finish his class with the skills and confidence to enter the workforce straight out of high school, or continue on to college to pursue a degree in wood technology. Mr. Davis gives the next generation of woodworking professionals a solid base of the traditional craft, enabling them to use the understanding of properties and limitations of wood to thrive in the industry's ever-changing landscape. Mr. Davis is set to be recognized at the annual Woodworking Convention Conference in Maui, Hawaii this May. Congratulations, Mr. Davis. Thank you for your continued support and dedication to your students.
Good evening. My name is Andy Plunkett. I'm one of the Assistant Chief of Schools, and we want to recognize Mr. Joe Davis, who is another one of the secrets that we try to keep quiet in Lewisville ISD. I've known Joe for over 20 years, back when I taught at Lewisville High School, and he just gets better with age, and his projects are wonderful. If you're ever at Dale Jackson, stop by his shop, and you'll see the wonderful things that they're working on. But congratulations. We hope you enjoy Hawaii because you deserve it.
The National Federation of State High School Associations recently named the Colony High School softball head coach Deanna Coleman as its 2016-17 State Softball Coach of the Year. The 20-year coaching veteran, 19 years as a head coach, has a career record of 403 and 137, and has guided 2 state championships over 3 state tournament appearances. Coleman's leadership, hard work, and determination have also helped her players earn more than $1 million in scholarship money, with many continuing on to play softball at the collegiate level. Congratulations, Coach Coleman. LISD appreciates all that you do for your student athletes.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Tim. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Tim Baxter, the principal at TCHS, and I can tell you I've known Coach Coleman for over 12 years now, And just her story, especially last year, her battle with breast cancer, and to see the courage and determination and just the dedication to excellence she constantly taught her girls was a story that touched lives all over the nation, literally. So we're just so proud of Coach Coleman and all that she has meant at TCHS and all she does for our athletes, their parents, and our community. So we have with us this evening Coach Coleman and then also one of her players, Coco Hirsch, and I think Coco's parents are here as well. So let's congratulate them.
I would just like to say that Madison Hirsch here is a All-American. She was named All-American as a sophomore. And we had another All-American named as a freshman last year. So we had 2 All-Americans first time in school history. And yes, we did pass the $1 million mark of scholarship money in just the last 5 years. It's awesome.
Let's give all of our winners one more round of applause.
And Ms. Cox, if I can jump in, just amazing, once again, just amazing talent at all of our schools in all different types of and areas. And so we are very fortunate to get to work with students like we just saw.
Okay, hear requests to address the board. Persons desiring to address the Board of Trustees must fill out a speaker's card prior to the meeting. No presentation shall exceed 3 minutes, and the board cannot deliberate on any subject that is not included on the agenda. So we have 2 cards tonight. Nick, is it Weisner?
Good evening. Thank you for allowing me to speak. I've written it down so I can say it probably in the 3 minutes. I'm a veteran. I'm an active watchdog. I'm the coordinator for the training volunteer on 4 LISD campuses. But I've come before you today not as either of those. I come before you as a dad, a father. I'm a big supporter for and of LISD. However, even being a watchdog, being a volunteer on campus, I have my own limitations on what I can do. This brings me with hardened heart. If we look at the national news and all the scrambling we look at the national news and all the scrambling to attempt to take action, saying this and proposing that, but what we're talking about here, guys, is soft targets. I'm sorry. What can LISD? What can LISD do? Why don't you ask Harold, Keene, Argyle ISD? They have adopted and done this in the name of safety. Fortunately, our Texas legislators, unlike the rest of the nation, have addressed this for us already. Legislation has been previously passed that creates a new subset of law enforcement officer called a school marshal. The last line of defense should an armed attacker threaten our lives of our faculty and our children in public schools. In the wake of Florida last month and the incident at MHS, and just 2 weeks ago at LHS, need I bring up any more incidents? This perceived notion is our reality. It's here in Lewisville. It's here in LISD. The years of talking are over. The years of being able not to take the appropriate action are over. The board does a tremendous job, you guys do, to keep our students and our faculty safe. By Texas law, the board can take action in an attempt to prevent a possible tragedy that may or may not occur. I'm not saying that they are going to occur or not going to occur. We don't know that. But if the board fails to consider even taking the reconsider taking the appropriate actions to protect our students and faculty, potentially the blood of those students will be on the board or future board members' hands. like I said, this brings me no pleasure to talk about this tonight with all the awards that are going on and the recognition of the wonderful students in this school district. But it's exactly those students is the ones I'm concerned about as a dad. I respectfully request the board to retake a serious look into the updated legislation and what it takes and what is the requirements for them in further protecting our schools. I would rather a legal trained school marshal have a weapon and never need to utilize it than have a faculty member in need of a weapon as a means to prevent or stop the further loss of life in a situation, and they are being authorized by law and not having one. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wisner. Next, we have Carol Ball.
My name is Carol Baugh. I'm a parent in the district, and I thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. I'll briefly address 3 unrelated topics. The first is the district's 1 to X initiative. In 2014, I addressed this board asking, how will the success of this program be measured, and how is the district ensuring that content is appropriate? Almost 4 years later, I don't feel like I have the answers. In 2014, LISD paid $378,000 for Content Keeper software that was supposed to track usage. What is the educational percentage usage today of our 1 to X devices? High school students are very adept at using VPNs to circumvent controls, for example, illegally streaming unreleased movies on LISD's iPads. In the past 4 years, how has the district improved its reporting about iPad usage and the monitoring of these devices? As a taxpayer and as a parent, I'm reluctant to purchase more without knowing how we're controlling the devices that we have today. Second, almost 2 years ago, I addressed the board concerning why are we offering high school credit in middle school for non-core classes such as art? I understand accelerating math for students that are working ahead of grade level and Spanish where pedagogy supports earlier offering. But why other courses? Since then, the board has amended GPA and grading policies. At that time, the board stated that middle school should be middle school and high school should be high school. So why do these elective credits persist? The plethora of middle school electives is diluting your high school performing arts, and high school art credit is making it even worse. 2 years ago, I was told that this would be studied. Since then, I've seen or heard nothing. When will this be addressed? Third, I want to address student vaping. What is LISD doing to control the use of these devices at school, especially by underage students? The devices are now smaller and easier to conceal, with juuling now entering the mix. How is LISD addressing this problem, and what more can be done? I don't think that 2 days in ISS does much to deter use. Thank you for your service to the district and the opportunity to speak tonight.
Thank you, Ms. Ball. Okay, information items, child nutrition annual update. Mr. Ball.
Thank you, Ms. Cox. The next 3 items all have to do with our great child nutrition program. And as Ms. Alicia McDonald makes her way to the podium, the first item is just the annual update about that program. And the next 2 items will follow that related to child nutrition.
Good evening, Ms. Cox, President Cox, members of the board, and Dr. Rogers. Thank you for allowing me to speak tonight and talk a little bit about our child nutrition department for this past year that we've had. If you go to the, during the 16-17 school year, we served a little over 7.8 million total meals, about 1.6 breakfast, 4.2 million lunches, and 1.9 and some change a la carte dinners and snacks. We have a department consisting of about 450 child nutrition staff members, and we participate in the National School Lunch Program, School Breakfast Program, After School Snack Program, and the Child and Adult Care Food Program, which is our dinner program. We serve fresh fruits and vegetables daily at every meal period, and we recently received an award, which I'll talk about here in a second. Expounding on that a little bit more, fresh local produce has really been a big focus of ours this school year. We've partnered with Farm Logics to provide our students in the district with fresh, locally grown fruits and vegetables weekly. And we were recently recognized by the Texas Department of Agriculture Commissioner Sid Miller for participating in the Texas Department of Agriculture's Local Products Challenge. And if I may, I brought a copy of the certificate. It's a great honor to receive that award, and we're very, very proud that we were able to integrate as much local Texas produce in our menus as much as possible, and then receive state recognition for doing so. Another way that we're also introducing new fruits and vegetables to our students monthly, we've been able to highlight items such as Brussels sprouts, grapefruit, and just many other different things like roasted butternut squash, and give our students a little taste of something different and something they may not receive at home. And then we also this year standardized our a la carte offerings. All of our a la carte are Smart Snack approved, which means they're not what you would normally find in a regular grocery store. They're all whole grain and low sodium, but they also are branded items too that are brands that our students recognize. And as many of you are aware or remember, we did our first polystyrene recycling program over at Griffin Middle School in partnership with their 2015-2016 LEGO team. And we were able to start recycling those polystyrene trays, which are 100% landfill avoidance. And we've been able to decrease our kitchen waste or cafeteria waste to about 75%. We were able to eliminate one of the dumpsters. We had an 8-yard and a 6-yard dumpster, and we were able to eliminate the 6-yard almost immediately just by not having those styrofoam trays in the trash every day. And we were looking to expand that program moving into next year, and those decisions will be made based off of how many trays that we go through per campus, and then what the feasibility would be of eliminating one of those dumpsters. So mostly looking at a higher free and reduced campus secondary school. So look for more information coming out about that soon. Still expanding our dinner program, our child and adult care food program. We expanded it to 3 additional campuses this year, which is Lewisville Elementary, DeGan, and Durham. We've served over 48,000 dinners this school year so far, so we're still going, which is a 736% increase over prior year. So it is a wildly popular program, and I think has really served a need in our district that we haven't been able to identify before. So I just want to recognize Dr. Rogers for bringing that to our attention, and we were able to partner. And then we also continue our specialized training, not only with our food service professionals with culinary techniques and garnishing and food handler food safety, but also occupational safety with equipment operation and injury prevention. And then we also have been partnering with the Colony High School's culinary team and also the Dale Jackson Hospitality program as well. So we really enjoy those partnerships. And this is one of the pictures where we partnered with the culinary program over at the Colony. What's next? Our food truck should be coming soon. We look to have that in operation this summer and are working on identifying where the food desert opportunities are this summer, and in partnership with our other local nonprofits, and making sure that we are identifying those locations where there are not current operating programs, and communicating where we'll be at probably in around May. We're also collaborating, or hope to collaborate, with our graphic design program as well within the district to design the wrap of the truck. So for looking forward into next year, our projected revenues will be about $24 million. Our contracted expenses about $23 million, with a guaranteed return of 1.231 with the approval of the budget tonight, this evening. And we just wanted to thank you for all of your partnership and your support. It's been very meaningful and helpful in trying to drive the innovation of the program and make great moves and progress.
You, Alicia? Oh, sure. Go ahead and clap. Food has come a long way since we were all kids at the cafeteria. That's all I can say.
Definitely, yeah.
Does anyone have any questions? Ms. Prosnick?
Thank you. Last year, you spoke about the Spice Bar that you were piloting at Marcus High School. What happened with that, and are you piloting any of those kinds of programs in the district?
Absolutely. And the Spice Flavor Stations we did pilot at Marcus High School last year, and it was a great, huge success. In fact, we were able to pilot it or expand the program not only just to Marcus High School, but to all of the high schools, and eventually had to come up with a station for each of our serving lines instead of just a centralized station. So it was a huge success, and we look forward to continue expanding that out, possibly to middle schools looking into next year. And then for the second part of your question, more pilots to come. This year we piloted the polystyrene recycling, but we also have been piloting a homemade pizza at our elementary schools, and transitioning from our, I don't know if y'all remember the pizza of elementary. Our pizza, our scratch pizza, has been tested and found to be a whole lot better than the frozen pizza that was previously being served. So we've been slowly rolling that out. It's a little bit more labor intensive, so we have to take baby steps there, but we look to have that in 100% of all of our elementary schools into next year, and it's already in place at our middle schools and high schools. So, and then this is kind of a secret, but we are bringing out a sushi program next year. So.
Don't tell anybody.
Ms. Sheffield?
So can you explain the dinner program a little bit more? I'm not familiar with that.
Sure, absolutely. And a campus has to be at least 50% or free or reduced in order to qualify initially, and also have other enrichment programs that the students can participate in. So things like after-school tutoring are opportunity campuses where we can partner and have a hot dinner in a sack, or however we can serve it to the students, so that they can still get that nourishment and be able to learn and not have to wait another couple of hours before they get home.
Any other questions? Mine's more of a comment, but I love the recycling program. And I just want to make a comment that it's because of the students at Griffin who piloted the program that you guys are doing that. So I want to commend our students. They are amazing, and good things happen from those. So thank you for taking the initiative to see that through for them.
Absolutely, yes. And we really are excited about expanding it across the district.
Thank you so much. Okay, we're going to move up one of our agenda items where we're going to do student council recognitions. Dr. Coburn.
Thank you, Mrs. Cox. Members of the board, thank you for moving this up. These young ladies and gentlemen have homework. They got to get home and get started. We have so many great things happening in our district, and so many students that are thriving in futures that we create, and we may not have a group of students more representative of thriving and helping others thrive than our 5 student councils. We have members of those 5 here, as well as our sponsors, and we have a video to show you exactly what they do.
The student council is a club and organization at most schools where anyone can join, which is one of the coolest things that I think our club does. We get kids from all aspects of school. We have our athletes. We have people that are in different other clubs and organizations.
I think that's really the most important part of it, is it's a place where anyone can go to feel like they're a part of the school, to contribute to the school, and to really become a part of the community.
Our student council has done lots of things for the community, ranging from big volunteering projects to smaller projects that improve our community individually.
I was in charge of LHS's annual Angel Tree project. This was my favorite project because it gave students the opportunity to impact families throughout LASD by supplying families with Christmas gifts, but not only just games and toys, but also gift cards for groceries and clothing for students.
One really big thing that we've done this year is Hurricane Harvey. We had a fundraiser for that, and we raised over $12,000 just going around our student body asking if they'd like to donate.
So we collect money, toys, treats, blankets, and towels for Operation Kindness,
Toys for Tots that we do, and canned food drives, and going around our community.
We also supply volunteers to the Senior Citizen Center in order to teach senior citizens how to use technological devices.
The reason I wanted to join student council and specifically become an officer was not only to feel included, but also to make a change in the school.
It's more than just promoting football games and soccer games and any other event. It's about giving the students a good opportunity to come to school and enjoy it.
And we just want to make our school a happier place, not just a better place in general. We want everyone to love going there and feel safe there.
Student council also has improved my confidence when speaking in front of large groups of people or leading a small group in a project.
It's honestly made me a lot more confident with my student body and has made me have a voice for them as well.
My high school experience just would have been a lot different had I not joined student council.
Student council has given me a sense of home. It's given me a sense of stability, something that I really haven't had in my life throughout my high school years. Throughout my life, I've been through a lot, and I could have fallen through the cracks, but with the help of our advisors and LASD members, I've been able to stay on the right path, and student council has done that for me.
Okay, as this is a discussion item, I would ask if our sponsors would be willing to maybe head up to the podium here, just in case anybody has any questions for you. If you don't mind, I would like to ask the student councils to stand up and just be recognized. Those of you here, one school at a time, so hang on. Okay, we're going to do this. We're going to do this in order. So Flower Mound High School, stand up. Thank you. Hebron High School, student council members, stand up. Lewisville High School student council members. Thank you. Marcus High School student council. And The Colony High School student council. Okay.
So let's start with Hebron.
We can do that.
Hebron High School, if you'll come up.
Okay, I think we have a few questions for you guys.
I really just wanted to thank all the sponsors. I know the extra time and effort that you all put into these kids and to all of the extracurricular stuff that they do. And I just wanted to say thank you for the extra time and effort.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Well, I've gotten some information about Mr. LISD, which we're supporting. Can you give me, I love the fact that all 5 high schools are doing that together. Can you explain what that is?
Yeah, actually, Mr. LISD was based off of Mr. Hebron, just to let you know. Basically, every high school is going to do a Mr. Whatever. And the top 3 are going to compete from each school. They're going to compete into Mr. LISD. We did that about 5 years ago. And so we're going to reinstate it. Every year, Dr. Rogers asks students from every high school, student council, what do they want to do for the community? For several years, we did some community service, and this year we're going to do kind of a pride project, which will also help the community and stuff like that. So it's May 21st, and actually, Flower Mound has already done theirs. You have a contestant that's going to be in it. And Marcus has already done theirs. And then Colony and Lewisville's and then Hebron's last because we're last. So we're going to get it in May. So it's very exciting. Come on out. It'll be fun. It's going to be at Flower Mound High School. And more details. Watch the Twitter. Hebron Student Council Twitter. Do that. Yeah.
Okay, I just want to commend you and thank you for all that you do. I know it is tireless and a lot of work, but I just do have a question. So, do you decide every year, the students decide like what organizations you're going to support? Because I don't think a lot of people really realize how much you do for the communities. So, how is that determined at each of your campuses?
Well, we determine it by, we go to a lot of trainings throughout the state, and we see what has to be done throughout in local communities. We put a lot of our efforts into our local schools and communities, and so each year we change, and sometimes we do the same thing every year, but that's how our school does it.
The Colony does the same. We also choose, I ask the students which ones we want to support. If there is an event like a hurricane, we will often act upon natural things that happen throughout the year. We like to support what our school district supports as well, and so that's a lot of what we choose to back. I'm
like the rest of the great ladies here. Every year we ask our students, it's the ebb and flow of what is working now, what can we improve, and what needs to happen. But I really look at TASC, that's Texas Association of Student Councils. They give us a great justification, a great look in the future of what needs to happen. Like state convention this year is actually on April 14th. And this year's platform is actually the injustice of the sex trade in states. So every year they focus on something big. And some years I think we follow it. Some years we don't. Last year was ID cards and organ donation and stuff like that. So we look at TASC for guidance. And I know that on this year, I asked my board during summer workshop. That's where we get a lot of stuff done, is summer workshop in July or June. What are projects that really we want to do? And this year we did a new thing. We actually helped clean a park 3 weeks ago at River Shawn Park. And Saturday, it's interesting because you have to get the bus. And then you wake up at 2 in the morning going, oh my gosh, should I put that bus request in? So you're texting, which AP do I need to text that won't, get mad at me? And get the bus, get the kids on the bus, pray that there's nothing that's going to happen, let them do their community service, make sure they're all there, they're not wandering away because they are kids, get them back on the bus, get them back to LISD, and hopefully they learn something. And they do. They loved it.
I would just have to echo everything they said. I look at my kids and I ask them what they would like to focus our energies on. I look to Miss Lael and ask her for suggestions, and we look at TASC and also our district, Student Council District 3. So we just try to do a variety of different things, and then just any local needs that come up.
I feel like for Marcus High School several years ago when Dr. Rogers, their student advisory committee, I think it was the first year that we did the Money Madness campaign, and Marcus High School chose the Children's Advocacy Center as our project. And through that first year, we really established a great relationship with the gentleman in charge, and he came out the next year and spoke with my students and invited us out to their facilities. And so I just feel like through that event and that Money Madness project that it really opened our eyes up to what they did and helped us form a relationship with them. So that is someone that we will always support. This year, another huge thing we did was obviously for Hurricane Harvey. So we really just look out to what is going on in the current school year and who we feel like we can best help.
There's two things I would like to add. We actually talk to each other. We do. We communicate with each other. Just to let you know, I mean, we've all been in student council sponsor position the minimum 8 years and higher. So, I mean, we're ranging from 8 to 22. So we do communicate with each other. And also, when there's need, Terry Ham, who is the leader of TASC, she emails us. Like, just to let you know that we are going to pay for 7 students at a school in Houston to come to a state convention because they couldn't. So, and I went through my student council board, they voted on it, and, I just turned the PO in today, and I said, I hope this works. There you go. So, but we talk with each other a lot on what we can do to help LISD, because we do it for the kids.
So, I mean, there's no doubt about that. You all are rock stars, and the programs that you work on, and of course there are many others like you that work on other programs, but the development of leaders and the recognition you always give us. Mrs. Stamey, I want to recognize the experience you bring to the table. And what you do at our marquee school, but all the other schools, and the bar that's set by all of you and our students in being leaders. But Mr. Stroud, so like you, I'm surrounded with a lot of great women. And one of the things that I've learned is to appreciate creativity at our graduations. And one of the creativities that's expressed to our students is the type of shoes that they wear and the different colors that they wear. So I just wonder here, would you be interested in opening that up to a little diversity for graduation this year?
Well, unfortunately, the graduation does not fall under the student council realm at Hebron High School. It falls under the senior class. So that is something you need to take up with the senior class sponsors, which is actually me. But okay. But I'm actually not the lead. I'm the assistant. So it would go through.
I knew you were connected somehow.
I support the standard shoes.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate you guys.
So does Mr. Finch.
I'm surprised you didn't defer it to him.
Because he would probably defer it back to me.
Well, thank you again. We appreciate all the work that you do. Okay. Update on status of potential meal price increase for 2018-2019 school year. Mr. Ball.
Thank you, Ms. Cox. This item, along with the next item, are information items tonight in the hopes that they would come back next month as action items. The reason the word potential is used in this item is because the USDA requires the use of a tool called the Meal Equity, Paid Lunch Equity Tool. And the purpose of that tool is to calculate the cost of the meal and to ascertain whether or not the revenues from the free and reduced lunches are subsidizing the cost of the paid meals. And unfortunately, the tool for next year has not yet been released, and so we're making these calculations using last year's tool, and we don't anticipate any significant change to that. Our hope is that before the April meeting that the tool will be released and we can finalize these numbers. But this is our best estimate of what will be required upon release of the paid equity lunch tool for next year. And so these numbers have been built into the revenue estimates for the budget on the next item that the board will look at tonight. And certainly myself or Ms. McDonald will be happy to answer any questions the board may have about this process.
Yes, this will come back, Mr. Ball. It's a
Yes.
discussion item.
Yes.
Does anyone have any questions?
This will come back as an action item.
Action item.
Yes.
I just have one question.
Go on.
I'm sorry, Mr. Ball, that I forgot to answer this last week. Asked this last week, but if we raise our the cost of our lunches, albeit it's a pretty small increase, right? Does that change what the Fed pays us in free and subsidized?
It does not. It is simply a requirement that as they adjust the free and reduced reimbursement rate, the district is not allowed to just hold its paid lunch static. So it's got to flow with the reimbursement rate.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ball. Okay, consider approval for renewal of RFP 238915 food service management contract.
Thank you, Ms. Cox. This also is an information tonight and will come back next month, hopefully as an action item. We are required to have this in the hands of TEA by Texas Department of Agriculture by April 30th. And what you have is the form that's prescribed by TDA for the budget when a district uses a contractor to operate the food service program. And you see all the numbers there. The revenue estimates have reflected that 5-cent price increase that we think will be required upon release of the paid equity lunch tool. And all the expenditures are based on the best estimate of what those will be. And the compensation, I believe, is based on a 2% increase for the child nutrition employees. And all of those assumptions lead to if I can scroll to the bottom, the guaranteed return of $1,231,885. And so we do anticipate this coming back next month as an action item so that we can meet that deadline of April 30th that Texas Department of Agriculture has. Our hope also will be that we'll be able to finalize the recommendation based on that paid equity lunch tool. And certainly myself or Ms. McDonald or Mr. Martin also has been involved in this. Any of us would be pleased to answer any questions the board may have.
Thank you, Mr. Ball. Are there any questions? Okay. Requirement for ICC 500 2014 to establish a local emergency planning committee. Mr. Ball.
Thank you, Ms. Cox. This item, and probably Mr. Strohmeyer can make his way to the microphone. Jimmy Strohmeyer is with the architect firm of Huckabee, and this requirement has to do with a new building code requirement for tornado shelters in new school buildings or additions to school buildings. And so I need to point out to you that in the board book there was a much lengthier PowerPoint presentation provided to the board in the board book, but in the interest of time, we've reduced that significantly to just cover the high points of that. And I won't steal Mr. Strohmeyer's thunder. I'll let him go through the PowerPoint, but he's the expert on what the building code requires and this committee that's associated with that building code requirement. Mr.
So that was
Strohmeyer?
half of my time right there. No, let me see if I can get this up a little bit higher for me. Can y'all hear me okay? So really what I wanted to run through is, I know we're talking about the Emergency Planning Committee, but really what triggered it is the IBC 2015. It's the newest building code. I know it's 2015, but it's not like software. It runs behind it. Usually takes cities several years to adopt it after it's released. So that is the newest one. And in the 2015 IBC, Group E, educational, if you have an occupancy of more than 50, and you have to design a shelter. So what that is that's new facilities or additions, things like that. It's not a retro back to the original buildings. The ICC 500, I'm not going to bore you with the details, but basically it lays out all the requirements in it. So it's not new ground where it was going to, what do we need to do? It's really all laid out in there. And one of the requirements is the local emergency planning committee. But I wanted to just kind of familiarize you with some of the key features. So your 250 mile an hour shelter, that a F4 is 207 to 260. So you can see it's high end of an F4. But what we have to do is design a minimum of 5 square feet per person of open space. Designed for the 250 miles per hour and 100 pounds per square foot roof. But one of the biggest things in hurricanes, tornadoes, I'm from New Orleans, so hurricane comes up first, but is actually the debris, the flying debris. So what you'll see is there's a lot of impact testing, doors that have to be impact proof. What you're going to find is in the shelter space, you're not going to see windows. You're not going to see things like that. So it's kind of become, you got to look for a space that's going to serve that. Has to have natural or mechanical ventilation. Has to have restrooms, handicap accessibility, 2-hour emergency backup, and a 2-hour fire resistance. So just kind of giving you some of the guidelines. So this is an example of when we're talking about impact. You see a lot of metal doors around. These are actually impact resistant ones. Ventilation, you can see this is a mechanical version. It will have a control room to monitor all the systems. So one of the things that we are finding, the easiest space that kind of fits the no windows are the gyms. So what we're looking at is hardening the gyms to a shelter, reducing penetrations, windows, things like that. But you'll find that the restrooms are going to be in the gym now on some of the buildings instead of out in the corridor. So you'll see some minor changes, but so the local emergency planning committee, I know that's what you were here to hear about, but really it's a group, as defined in the code, it's a group of citizens defined by the community as having recognized responsibility for local emergency planning, and the committee shall be recognized by a governing body as having this responsibility. What do they do? Basically, they're an operations committee. So they'll make sure people are trained on it, maintenance, protocols, things like that. And then, so what the code requires it. What you want to do is establish one for your whole district in lieu of individual municipalities, because you cover way too many municipalities. And that was my brief presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Strohmeyer. Does anyone have any questions?
Ms. Cox, let me just be clear. We already have an emergency operations committee that reports to Mr. Garrett. I think it consists of about, 25 to 30 people. Most of them are first responders, those types. And so, there's no doubt that as we build the new elementary school off of Mill Street, which will be under these requirements, then we will probably create a subset of that group to meet these requirements. And of course, since it's in Lewisville, then we'll work closely with the city of Lewisville and their folks as part of this. So anyway.
Miller.
Appreciate that, Dr. Rogers. So this isn't on the agenda, but I would ask that we get some communication on that. So that committee that's already set up, who's on that committee, how often do they meet, et cetera? And then I know you're going to set up a subcommittee that's related to this, especially as it relates to construction that requires this.
Yes, sir. Actually, we're going to bring back this group, the particular names on this group, back for your approval. So we believe that that's required as part of the statute. So we're going to bring the actual names of the subgroup of the committee. We'll certainly, Mr. Garrett will share with you the 25 plus members of the overall emergency operations committee, but we'll bring the smaller group to you for approval.
Just so, of that 25 group, then as you build different campuses around, you'll pull out subsets based on where the projects are located?
Yes, ma'am, that's exactly right.
Any other questions?
How will those subsets, I guess it's a question for you, how will those subsets work together then so that each subset is not going down a different trail?
Well, first off, they'll be part of the larger group of 25 to 30, and if you think about it, really the new construction that we have, whether it's Mill Street Elementary, whether it's the new Career Center West or whatever we call that, that is in the city of Lewisville. So really the first subset is going to be centered around the city of Lewisville and that group, so it won't have to change anytime soon.
So even though they're a subset, they'll still be a part of that group, and that subset will then bring back the recommendation so the entire subset knows, the entire set knows what the subsets are doing. I just want to make sure that we're not fragmenting and losing some of the communication in that process.
No, that's a great point, Ms. Sells, and absolutely that will be a responsibility that Mr. Garrett will have. And really the responsibility of this group is to make sure that we know the protocols, train the people on the protocols, which is certainly right down Mr. Garrett's wheelhouse.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, technology bond project timeline, Mr. Colbeck.
Thank you, Ms. Cox. As you know, in May of 2017, the communities approved our referendum for over $737 million, of which $99,115,903 were slated for technology projects. The projects, as they have been presented to the board, are really broken out into two main categories. Those categories are in the areas of student and staff computer access. The total cost in that area is $59,394,868. The other area is in the area of network and infrastructure. That total is $39,721,035. So let me try this over. $39,721,035. Also, as you're aware, we've been wrapping up our device evaluation process. During the March 5th board work session, we presented multiple options to the board, and in each of those options, granted, we received some feedback from the board, which you're going to see some updated versions of those tonight, but what we showed was a 5-year projection for the student and staff computer access. And that included both the replacement for our one-to-one, our student and staff devices, as well as the program-specific computers as well. When we discussed that during the March 5th board work session, that was really in isolation of all the other technology bond projects for this 5-year program. So, we've been working on different infrastructure projects really since the first issuance, and what I wanted to do was put together basically a timeline, and as you can see, there's a lot of fine detail there. But this is basically a project timeline that really, it doesn't just span 5 years, it really looks into it 6 years, because essentially we're into year one right now and we're planning our first deployment. And as we do our last stages of that, whatever we're implementing, you're implementing into that 6th school year. So what the goal of this is to really show you, I know you're going to be asked to make a decision tonight and later on in the agenda when we talk about our device refresh. And the idea is, how does our device refresh decision fit into the scheme of all the technology bond projects? So this timeline shows that, for one, we do have a plan. We do have a plan. It also shows that the decision that we're going to be asking later on in the agenda also fits financially within what was budgeted for the full $99,115,903. So with that, the plan I sent to you last week, and if you have any questions, let me know.
Dr. Rogers.
And Ms. Cox, Board, I'd just like to first off express my appreciation to Mr. Colbeck. I mean, the purpose of this, and I know you can't read it right now, but the purpose is to demonstrate, and Mr. Colbeck and his staff have done a great job of really, we wanted to plan out all 5+ years and to show you that there is a plan month by month on how to utilize these bond funds that were supported by our community.
Anyone have any questions? Ms. Sheffield?
Is there any way for us to get that in a format that we can read? Like, is there a way to break down the information where it's a little more visual? Because I just can't read it.
I can provide that into just a spreadsheet without the Gantt view if you'd prefer that, or if you want the visual Gantt view, I can send something else.
Okay. Mr. Miller has something that I think. Can you send that to me? Okay. I'm good. Thanks.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll talk about it. So I think that this is, I do think the summary that was sent is better. I mean, I really, this is a significant amount of money, and when we ask for those projects, right, to make executive decisions, and we have to look at something like this, I walked in, I was in, last week I was like, I don't even know what I'm trying to figure out here. What you sent today, which I know that the entire board didn't get, is more helpful, right? So I think going forward, with the complexity of these things, because there's a lot of speak and language that a lot of people don't understand, think about getting it to us in a simple format, because what are we thinking about? We're thinking about, hey, what's the timeline for this? How many projects do we have going on? There's 7. One's related to, right? Just how do you get this to us in a format that's more helpful? And I think that this, it may be the best way to do it, this latest document, but it's much more helpful. So thank you for sending that. I didn't have a lot of time to spend on it because I got the email today in a few minutes, so I think it would be helpful for the entire board to see that.
I can send it to him. Yep.
And Mr. Miller will certainly send it in a different format. I do want to be clear, the reason why we have it in this format is sort of the same format we use for our bond projects and new construction. And of course, for us, it'll be a much larger, on a wall type thing, which certainly we understand y'all can't do. So we'll put it in a better format for you.
So just to clarify, you'll send the summary to the entire board so that we can all have it?
Yes,
all right, thank you.
And just to be clear, too, the document that Mr. Miller is referencing, he asked me to provide him something in a different view. It's basically that view in a view of only showing year one as far as the Gantt, where the other years 2 through 5, are basically just minimized down, but it shows the project cost or the estimated cost for that year, not really what month the project's going to happen. So that's what would be in the file that I'd be sending you.
But it does have the start and end date, so we can see the start and end date,
yes,
the budget, and then a first-year, more micro-level view of the tasks, if you will.
Ms. Hassett.
We asked you for a timeline, and I actually greatly appreciate the timeline as you've even presented it. I haven't seen the other one, but this one to me shows the thought process involved in every stage of it. And I did definitely have to zoom in quite a bit to actually read it. It took a little bit longer, but to me this was a highly valuable piece of information just to know that you have worked through all of the process. So I would like this in addition to the others because I'm greedy. Thank you.
Thanks.
Is there any way for us to get, I mean, I don't have a copier at home that would copy anything larger than, I don't even think I have anything other than 8.5 by 11 paper in my home. Is there a way for us to get this
Sure.
where we could fold it and put it?
Well, kind of like what we did with the facilities.
Yes.
If it could really just be blown up, it can be multi-pages, but I think the way the facilities worked was really helpful just from, I don't know, it's just easier sometimes to look at that hard copy.
Yeah, and I think that if we had that and compared it with what you sent Mr. Miller, I too appreciate this because it gives you that overview, and that's really what we need to know, and that's really what we've been asking for, is to see how this progresses and plays out. I mean, we're doing the will of the voters, and I would like to know at the end of the day the length of time that that's going to take, where that's all going to fall. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Thank you, Mr. Colbeck.
Welcome.
Okay, discussion items, monthly financial report, including the bond report and the monthly investment report. Mr. Ball.
Thank you, Ms. Cox. These financial statements are as of the 5 months ended January 31, 2018, so almost to the midpoint of the fiscal year. And they do indicate, we're on track as we expect for the year. There's really not a whole lot unusual about them. One of the questions that was raised, the great question, had to do with the federal revenues and the fact that those are not necessarily earned ratably over the year. They are really a little bit unpredictable in that when we submit for the reimbursement and we're not sure when we're going to get it. So they may be up one year and down a little bit the next. But other than that, they're pretty typical. We are on track, I think, to operate within our budget. We do have the bond report for both the 2008 remaining bond funds and for the 2017. Some of those projects are on the agenda tonight for the board to consider the guaranteed maximum price. And then lastly, we have the investment report as of January 31st for the board's information and consideration, and certainly be happy to answer any questions the board might have about these financial statements.
Thank you, Mr. Ball. Does anyone have any questions? All right. School start times. Dr. Coburn.
Thank you, Mrs. Cox, members of the board. This is a continuation of the work session from March 5th. Back last June, we initially had made the commitment to revisit school start times for this year. We currently run a 3-tiered system, elementary, followed by high school and middle. We had a committee put together, met 3 times this year. We had a survey with over 13,000 community responses and 2,000 student responses regarding every aspect, facet of school start times that we could think of. The committee took all of that information as well as information on things like transportation, cost, logistics, time, and from there gave their recommendations to administration, which we have given to you to continue with a 3-tiered system, continue to run elementary, followed by high school, followed by middle school, understanding that is the way we believe to most be able to honor instructional time during the school day, particularly as it relates to extracurriculars at the middle school and our ability to control start times on those things. And at this time, we just open it up as an opportunity for further discussion.
Thank you, Dr. Coburn. Are there any questions? Ms. Prosnick?
I appreciate the meeting of the committee, but I want to break that down. 44 members, 14 of which attended all 3 meetings, 5 members who attended no meetings, 2 people who came to just the last meeting. That is correct?
I'd have to go back, and that sounds pretty accurate. I know you had brought those numbers to me earlier, and certainly, attendance at these sorts of things is a challenge. We did send invitations out to every parent who had responded in our Google Doc as having an interest in serving on a committee. That's one of the reasons we spent as much time as we did crafting the survey, because we really did want to make sure that we got as much input as we could to be able to get that back. Certainly, we want to make sure that there's as much input from the community in a process like this as we can possibly get.
Did you reach out to any of those community members who reached out to us that were unhappy when the district decided with the new school times?
We reached out to anyone who had expressed an interest in serving on a committee, and we did again back in June. Let the community know that we would be having a school start times committee, and that we would be bringing it forward committee in 2017-18. And then in August, we sent out a call for community members and parents that wanted to be a part of anything that may be happening in the community, including an opportunity to say specifically what they wanted to be involved with.
I appreciate the work of the committee. I read the Google Doc. I read all of that information. I guess I just would have liked a larger representation, if you will. Then I'll be blunt, 14 people for a district of 53,000 students. I appreciate the survey that went out. I think that survey was impactful, but there were a lot of questions that were on your Google Doc that were not included in the survey. And I want to know how the questions were chosen for the survey. Did the committee choose the questions for the survey from your Google Doc, or did you?
Sure. So the Google Doc was sent out to the members of the committee, every member of the committee, regardless of their attendance at meetings, for an opportunity to craft questions, things they wanted to know more about. From there, we brought 2 different versions of the survey forward to the district leadership team, brought the survey forward to the committee, and then brought results to the committee. Also worked closely with our communications department to make sure that the survey was both structured and crafted in a way that would make sense and provide the best kind of flow, and also maximize response rate.
And remind me, how long was that survey open?
We had about a 2-week window.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah.
Miller?
I was just going to, and again, this is for another meeting. I think we need to continue to have some discussions about committee protocols, how we select those people. When committees are used to form a conclusion, whether that's them interacting or it's via proxy through a survey process, I think for us it's important to know that we've got people that are there and participating. Those discussions, these are the objections to what we're doing, these are the things that we think are great, are really important conversations to us. And so I would just ask that in the future when we have committees that if people aren't attending, let's get some new people in there. I mean, we don't want committees to exist so that people can say I'm on a committee in LISD and then they never participate. We're actually interested in the value that they bring in the deliberative discussion. And so to the extent that we can just make sure that we catch that early, if people aren't attending, well, let's get some new people in there. I think, if the board needs to reach out to people that we've talked to, right, because sometimes committees get formed without our input, then let us know, and we can get people who are really willing to step up and participate and be a part of the process.
Mr. Miller, you're exactly right. We certainly, when we form committees, we want parent involvement. I think, a couple years ago when we discussed committee protocols, we have put in place changes as far as making sure we keep attendance, making sure. I think we changed even the parent sign-in process where as they sign up their kids and all that, all the checklists that parents have to do. There's a place where they can tell us, all 50 of the parents of all 52,000 plus parents that, hey, I want to be involved and here's a drop-down list of ways. But we certainly want to make sure, and Dr. Coburn and I have discussed this, that we have, for something this important, that we have as many parents around the table as we can.
Thank you. Ms. Sheffield?
Yeah. So when you have a committee, do y'all do the all the dates in advance so people know kind of going in, hey, these are the dates that I'm going to be expected to be there? Well, I just say thanks. Because I think, I've done things too where I've tried to have a committee of people and some people don't show up. And so I know that's hard. I guess at one point, I guess there's only so much you can do. If people aren't going to show up, they're not going to show up. I do appreciate, though, that you took that extra step of having a survey, because I think the information that came from that is rich. Because that would be really my thing, is if we do surveys, I think what's most important to me going into anything, like if I'm volunteering, is knowing, hey, these are going to be the expectations going in. And I think even if we get something, so that people say, hey, you know what, if you want to be on this committee, this is really important for us, that you commit to it, and here are the dates, and if you can do that, then, maybe if we just have some kind of commitment on the front end. But I think it looks to me like you did all you could do to kind of gather the information you needed.
Ms. Sheffield, there's no doubt that what we've learned, and this is another lesson learned, that there is going to be attrition, and so you need to build larger committees, because the attrition is going to happen. I mean, you think back to our FAC that started with 90 and it ended up with 79, and those folks actually signed a document understanding all the dates, understanding the commitment. So now we've got to intentionally build larger committees because we know there is going to be some attrition.
Any other questions? I just have a quick question, Dr. Coburn. So correct me if I'm wrong in my statement, but wasn't it last year when we kind of changed the schedule to the 9 a.m. for the middle school was to help some of the busing challenges that we were having? So do we have some data to back that up, that we have actually been some success stories with
yes,
the
ma'am.
change in time?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for that question. In fact, Ms. Brassfield was our guest of honor for sure at the first meeting, and she was able to provide some infographics and things that really showed our route time comparison, our percentage of on-time routes, greater than a 200% increase, and I'm waiting for a nod of affirmation, I believe, in on-time routes, which do not delay the start of first period. When students are staggering into first period and they're coming late and we're having trouble getting breakfast in their hands, those instructional minutes start to shrink in first period. And we even had, at some of our elementary schools, they were doing all they could to try to get students out to the buses as early as they could in the afternoon to help with the afternoon routes under a compressed schedule, which was disrupting the end of the instructional day a little bit. And really, and again, our goal, and one of the goals that the committee did value, was trying to protect that time from when that first bell rings until when that last bell rings. And if buses don't run on time, it's really hard to do. And that's so there's kind of that whole function of tiers of time between levels of schools that are driven by how long it takes to get a bus through traffic in southern Newton County.
Would it be possible to supply to the board some data from last year and then data for this year?
Absolutely.
On the routes?
We'll
That'd
get that
be
in
great.
your hands.
Thank you. Okay, open enrollment policy, FDA local. Dr. Coburn.
Okay, our current FDA local policy that was adopted a little over a year ago says that we do accept transfer students from districts that do not neighbor us from public schools, and we will accept any student who within the last year did not attend public school in a neighboring district. One of our charges was to look and see what our neighbors are doing, since our current policy excludes students who have attended a public school in a neighboring district within the last year. What we found is that we have 3 neighbors, Carroll the Farmers Branch, Denton, Little Elm, that do have an open enrollment policy. We have some others that have language within their policy that creates that opportunity to exist. And the discussion item on the table was just to bring that to you, to let you talk about how to go forward with that piece of information.
Thank you, Dr. Coburn. Does anyone have any discussion or questions?
Well, I just wanted to say, when we discuss transfers and sort of opening up transfers for our contracted employees, like our bus drivers that can bring their, I made a statement a couple years ago. I did not want to create border wars with neighboring districts. But at the same time, certainly we don't want to allow people to take our students without reciprocating, and I appreciate that Ms. Timish brought this to our attention.
So will we bring this back for action? Is this just a discussion point? I mean, it's for next month, right?
Yes, it would require action because we would have to change.
Right,
SDA
but right
local.
now, you're just looking for our input.
Looking for input.
I support.
Do we have data on how many students we think that are being pirated from us?
I think Dr. Coburn does. Pirated, I hadn't heard that term.
I'm all for a good.
We are
So let's go for it.
we are able to track transfers in and out. We are not able to, the state database doesn't allow us to be able to disseminate what's an employee transfer, things of that nature. But we did specifically look at Carrollton Farmers Branch, and we are running at a net negative. There are more students leaving Lewisville ISD for Carrollton Farmers Branch than there are leaving Carrollton Farmers Branch for Lewisville. Certainly we have some coming in. Those would be employee transfers, almost 100%. The net, and I can get that number to you directly, it was in the 75 range for this year in terms of number in versus number out.
Well, I would say if our student recognitions this night was any indication, I think that they would do well to come back. So.
Do we know why? Like, is that part? I know we track. We ask people when they leave why. Is that information you could share with the board if we know it? Like, I'd be curious to know why you're leaving our district for another. Like, if we have that information.
Yeah, we do exit survey. We don't get a lot of exit responses. Folks are not generally quick to want to take the time to do that, to let us know why they've decided to go elsewhere. So it's challenging to track, but we do have some, and I can put that together and share that information with you.
Ms. Timish.
No, I appreciate administration's work on this, and I do know that we want just to make sure that we're being friendly, but we're not putting ourselves behind the eight ball, and I know that that even there's marketing that goes into some of that for why some of the students are going to other districts, and it's just those are just some of the pieces that we have to consider.
Ms. Hassett.
Speaking of marketing, the districts who are actively marketing to take our children away, that we're going to have this reciprocating process, are we going to start marketing too in order to try to get those children back, or any others?
That is a great segue to something that the board is going to receive later this week, and that is our marketing plan. So Ms. Brim and I, have been sort of finalizing that, and certainly we do have a plan, and we will share that with the board later this week.
Any other questions? Mr. Miller?
Did I miss the information item on this? So we didn't do an information item? Okay. All right. I believe the word's poaching. And so I was going to bring up the marketing plan too and ask Dr. Rogers if we could have it on the April agenda, but it sounds like we'll get something next week, and so hopefully we'll be able to have a formal discussion on that either in the next workshop or in the next meeting.
Yeah, we'll have it as a discussion too at the next board work session.
Any other questions? Okay, action items. Consider approval of RFP 253618, telecommunications products and services. Mr. Colbeck.
Thank you, Ms. Cox. This is a topic that we've discussed at the Board Technology Committee meeting in January 19th, and also we discussed this as a discussion item at the board meeting February 12th. Essentially what's happening is our current telecom service contract is going to be expiring in June. We currently have 10 PRI, primary rate interface lines, to handle all of our inbound and outbound calls. We also have 470 analog lines that we use for elevators, emergency fire alarms that are required to have. What we're trying to do is we're trying to put in a new service, a new protocol called SIP for voice trunks, and what that would do is give us the ability to do the inbound calling and outbound calling, as well as provide services for the analog lines that I just referenced. What this has fortunately allowed us to do is, through our procurement process, is bring forward a recommendation that actually saves us money and hopefully brings us services that are even more reliable than what we currently have today. So with that, our recommendation is to approve the contract and anticipated expenditures for 5 years with Frontier Communications of America.
Thank you, Mr. Colbeck. Does anyone have any questions? Mr. Miller?
I just want to make sure, Mr. Colbeck, so you said hopefully, but this, you caught yourself doing it, didn't you? Okay, so
Excuse me.
this is the budget, the planned budget for this, right? So it's not hopefully we'll hit the savings, we will.
This is a will.
Okay,
This
great.
is, we're confident in this recommendation and the services.
Great, thank you.
Other questions? Somebody like to make a motion?
I'll make the motion. I move to approve the contract and anticipated expenditures for 5 years to Frontier Communications of America, Inc., as recommended by administration.
It's a motion by Ms. Sells. Do we have a second? Second by Ms. Hassett. All in favor? 7-0, motion carries. Consider approval of procurements for 2017 bond program year 1 technology device deployment and mobile device management utilizing cooperative contracts. Mr. Colbeck.
Thank you. And this is really a follow-up from some of the information that I presented during the timeline, technology projects timeline. And Mike, do you have the clicker? There we go. Thank you. So just as I've mentioned before, we've talked about this for the last several board meetings, and really just looking back, this has been a major community commitment. And this started off with our technology planning process back in the 15-16 school year. And certainly part of that process was recognizing we needed a process for device evaluation, that we needed to get teacher input, we needed student input, and we needed parent input. And we did that through our device evaluation phase 1, which happened during the summer of 2016. That information helped guide our work as we presented that information and our recommendations to the Facility Advisory Committee. Ultimately, our bond did pass in May of 2017, and we started device evaluation phase 2. We've had numerous meetings with the Board Technology Committee There's a couple years worth of work really leading up into this decision. Certainly, we've had recent board meetings. We've had our March 5th board workshop where we took a deep dive into the different deployment options. And I've said this before, but there's been a lot of cross-department involvement in this. We've worked very closely with learning and teaching. The digital learning team has worked closely through this whole process. The assessment office has helped us with the breakdown of our survey responses. The technology department, desktop management team specifically setting up, staging, rotating all of the different devices through. The purchasing department on the procurement. So there's a lot of involvement in the recommendation that we're going to be bringing forward. During the March 5th board meeting, we talked about the process summaries basically between elementary and middle, and this is, I'd say, the third summary of the summaries essentially. So really at all three levels, elementary, middle, and high school, our findings were that the iPad is easy to use. Our survey responses suggest the iPad meets the learning needs and the digital tools that are being used in the classroom. The feedback regarding having the integrated keyboard was very valuable, and also there were concerns about durability, which we discussed during the March 5th work session. Also, the iPad 10.5 was the most preferred device from the students and teachers involved in the pilot. At the high school level, again, the integrated keyboard and case seemed to be the best fit for meeting the instructional needs. And then when you compare devices and looking specifically at the high school where we piloted laptops, students recognized they would lose functionality if they had a laptop as compared to an iPad. So our review of deployment options, we had our individual data review meetings where we presented 3 different options. We took feedback from trustees during that time, and when we got into the March 5th meeting, we really ended up presenting 5 different options based upon that feedback. And from the feedback from the March 5th meeting, we've whittled that down to 2 options, which we're going to present in just a minute. And ultimately, our goal is to have a decision on this tonight if possible. So our final options, and I just want to clarify because during the March 5th meeting, you saw different terminology where we had option 1, option 2, option 3, etc. Option A is really, it's really what I would call 4A, okay, as we went through from the fifth. And I just want to clarify the differences on this. So on option A, there we go. On option A, the iPad 9.7 for option A would run in grades PK through 8, and the 10.5 would be in grades 9 through 12. As you can see in the table, it shows the anticipated spend for year 1 through 5, and it shows the total amount. It also, at the top, it shows the bond budget for the instructional learning devices. So what you see with option A, the actual out-of-pocket spend on that is more than what is budgeted. The other component to this, what we're presenting is a deeper projection of residual value. During the March 5th board work session, we showed a very conservative number for year 1. What this shows is a $50 conservative number for the iPads that would be traded in during the 5-year period. So if you look at just the residual value with iPads alone, this won't even include any of our laptop inventory, MacBook inventory, this would actually put option A to be just over $2.4 million under budget. One of the other items that was brought up as an area of concern during the board work session was recognizing that the iPad 10.5 does have a higher repair cost. The glass is more expensive. So after the board work session, our purchasing department was able to negotiate Apple Care through Apple that would provide 3 years of Apple Care, which extends the warranty of the device out to 3 years, and it provides 2 accidental damages during that 3-year period. So we believe when you look at total value and concerns about ongoing repair costs, we believe the Apple Care piece really helps close that concern. On option B this is really a plan that was spun from the board work session. And the idea on option B was that the iPad 10.5 would be the device issued in the 1-to-1 grade levels, 4 through 12, and the iPad 9.7 would be what would be provided for classroom sets in PK through 3. So again, you see the bond budget amount for the instructional learning category, the total cost, the estimated residual value with that option, and option B would come in $353,923 under budget. And again, with that option, Apple Care would be on the student devices in grades 4 through 12. This slide shows really what the deployment plan looks like. And a couple pieces that I want to point out in what we discussed at the March 5th board work session was that with the iPad 9.7, our recommendation was to replace that in a 4-year window. So on option A, where you have what would be replaced in right now to be deployed for next school year, you'll notice in both option A and in option B, we're repurposing and reusing our current iPad Airs. So what we would be doing in option A would be rolling out the iPad 10.5 at the grades that you see listed. The 9.7 would be rolled out in grades 4, and the iPad Airs would be reused. And you'd follow that over basically if it's a 10.7. I'm sorry, if it's a 10.5, you would not be replacing that device during the 5-year period. If it's a 9.7, you'd be replacing it in the 4th year. On option B, where you have the 10.5 in grades 4 through 12, you'll notice when we, as you go over for each year, your replacement numbers are very, very low because you're doing it all really in years 1 and 2. So this would basically be the flow of replacement per year. The numbers that you see on the screens represent the latest demographic report from Templeton based upon the projected enrollment for each year in each grade level. So our instructional learning 1-to-1 recommendation, our recommendation is to approve deployment plan option B. With option B, some of the benefits that we discussed on March 5th, the 9.7 does have a 128 gig hard drive in it. and looking at the PK3 grade levels where they'd be shared, having that larger hard drive and that bigger, thicker case, we think is still a very good option, PK3. Ultimately, the 10.5 has a more preferable size and weight. Our survey results indicated it was most desirable by students and staff. It's a faster device. It has a larger screen. As of today, it's the most advanced technology that you can get. We see this technology being able to span the full 5 years, that we would be able to keep it upgradable, where the 9.7, we wouldn't be able to do that, or we don't believe we'd be able to do it. Again, the Apple Care would help offset the repair costs, which we were concerned about with the 10.5 option. During the 5th, we also discussed how to address the program-specific technology. Current thinking is we would focus just on our Windows devices that need to be replaced for this upcoming school year. We're working with the purchasing department to issue an RFQ. Our plan is to bring that back to the board May 14th. And ultimately, this is the most important part, is if we were to decide on our device plan, actually get it out there, have teachers and students use it. Come back and evaluate it. Do a very similar survey. Find out what does need to be replaced if you have a device or an iPad combined with the keyboard. Some of the shared carts, Chromebooks, things that we have currently, they may not need to be replaced, and we would evaluate that in the 18-19 school year. To do that, that would require us to reuse our current MacBooks, and that would put them out 6 years old. However, as I said on the 5th, we're really not having much for issues with them. They're working well. We're not having battery issues, so we believe we can do that. So ultimately, the recommendation would be the same as what was in the presented to the FAC, that we would replace the program-specific equipment over 5 years for $11,174,150. So what does that look like over a 5-year period? What you see is a sample deployment plan for option B. So as you can see, the instructional learning spend per year over 5 years, and as you can see in year 5, there's no spend in year 5. On the program specific, that's what our estimated spend is per year to equal out the $11,174,000, and then this would be your annual spend for the total student staff computer access category. As you can see, as you add in the residual value, the estimated 5-year cost, the amount in the budget, the numbers tie out to what I showed you before, would be a surplus of $353,923. Additionally, on the 5th, we talked about the need to replace our mobile device management system. Our current solution that we have does need to be replaced. We did evaluate multiple systems. It started very broad. We narrowed that down to 2 different solutions. Our recommendation is to move forward with JAMP. That recommendation, I want to also be clear that would be funded from the technology operational budget, not the 2017 bond budget. So that would be something that would be in our regular operation budget. So that as we get into the recommendation tonight, our recommendation is that the board approves the anticipated expenditures for the purchase of Apple products and services and mobile device management from the vendors listed below. Apple being the vendor for $27,671,776 from the 2017 technology bond funds using DIR contract TSO 3789, and the SHI Government Solutions contract for $277,393 from the general fund budget using contract PACE number P00132. And that summarizes the presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Colbeck. Are there any questions? Ms. Sheffield.
Can you explain, and I didn't bring my notes with me, so I apologize, but why did y'all move away from the recommendation to do the 9.7s in the elementary grades? Because wasn't that one of the recommendation at our work session was the 9.7 in elementaries, and then 6 through 12 was the 10.5, correct? Mm-hmm. And so, because wasn't there was greater cost savings as well? Am I right? Am I remembering that wrong?
One of the I think biggest hesitations for recommending the 10.5 was really how to address the repair cost. So I would say the number one, I think collectively felt like the 10.5 would be where we'd like to be, but we were concerned on how to address the concern with glass replacement. So I think for us, the ability to negotiate the Apple Care in really changed our position on that, feeling like that would be the best option, best, fastest technology across the board for the one-to-one grade levels. So to me, that was kind of the game changer.
Mr. Miller?
Oh, I've got a few questions. So you said that you used the Templeton projections, and when we went into this and used Templeton projections, right, we saw that Templeton was off. It's not because of Templeton, but because of things that changed. I'm expecting that our world-class marketing program that we're going to hear about next week is actually going to reverse that effect. So are we getting a lift in our budget recommendations here because we are seeing a decreased enrollment? First question. And the second is, if we are, what if the projections are wrong? What if we add just 150 students a year in the next 4 years? Each one of those students, by the way, so I prorated that. Let's say it's 300 and half of them need devices. You're talking about $1.2 million a year that we would need to spend as it relates to just 150 kids coming in that would need devices. Is that fluctuation anticipated? Because we're talking about spending $61 million on the bond money, which is $2 million over. Which I'll get to that in a second. But how are we dealing with that expectation that we're going to reverse the trend of what we're seeing in Templeton?
Mr. Miller, I'll answer that. First off, we continue to get quarterly updates from Templeton, and so what our expectation from our demographer is to continually update their numbers. So if they're off the third quarter, we continue to look at where it lands fourth quarter. As far as our predictions, we have then taken those enrollment numbers and built in a 98% factor, as far as 98% of the kids will take a device. Right now, I think that percentage is about 90%. Is that right?
It's actually around 87, 88%.
Okay. So we've built in some cushion for the situations like you've talked about. Certainly, because we're not having to purchase all these devices all in year one. I mean, we're going to come back to you year 2, year 3, so we can take and make some adjustments in those times if needed.
So, I was assuming we would get 200 or 300 student lift, and then a percentage of those would be eligible to get devices. That's where I came up with my number. And coming back every year, what we're looking at here is a spend projection, and I know we're approving a smaller number tonight, against the bond budget, which is $59 million and some change. I assume when we did that budget, we assumed some residual value.
Absolutely.
Okay. So we know that residual value cannot go towards buying new devices. It has to be paid towards previous bond debt.
I don't think that's correct.
You don't have
Mr.
to
Miller.
pay any of those?
All you have to do is make sure and use residual value back towards bond purchases.
Okay, that's great. So in option B, when option A we had a 2-point-some, tilde surplus, and we have $300 and some $1,000 here. That's razor thin as it relates to the overall projections of the total budget. And again, I'm banking on this, Dr. Rogers. We are going to receive a really thorough and vetted marketing plan that is going to increase our student enrollment. If we decide next month that we're going to open it up to our borders to coaching, then I'm expecting that just 150 kid lift that will need devices is not an unreasonable number, but it's a lot of money relative to the overall spend.
Yeah, and I think certainly. We expect that our marketing plan to work, just to explain the conservative nature of the residual value that we've added, as Mr. Kobeck stated, we didn't add any residual value for the MacBooks that we have. I mean, so we have built in enough of a cushion that I feel comfortable.
Okay, good. That makes me feel better. Kudos to you, our procurement department, for negotiating the AppleCare. I know that came up. AppleCare came up from somebody else on the board, and that's a great job, Mr. Martin and team. And I think there's no doubt about a lot of work has been done on this, and we've been about as thorough as we can. But we have a plan to have a plan as it relates to closing some holes. And I think Ms. Baugh talked about it tonight, and those of us who have been on the board. Having a plan to have a plan that we will look at student usage and securing those devices. I mean, I sent a note last week, so wherever her reference was, I don't know, but I had a use case that I presented where students are downloading whatever you call that, illegal content. And that's not even things that are needed to be protected as it relates to the safety of students relative to bad content. So I'm just struggling. I feel like we're a month or two away from answering that, and I'm just not comfortable having a plan to have a plan anymore on that issue as a matter of principle. So I know that it's coming, Dr. Rogers, but we need a firm timeline. And as a matter of principle, I'm still just uncomfortable. Now, by the way, when we approve this, I think it needs to be what is recommended tonight because it's been thoroughly vetted. But that piece right there is so essential to protecting our kids and making sure they're doing things appropriate. I'm not talking about MDM. I'm talking about as it relates to usage of the devices for educational means and protecting them from applications that they shouldn't be able to get into. That needs to be tight. And at this point, I don't see a timeline for tightening that because what will happen is we're going to get really busy in this rollout. We're going to get really busy in the refreshing. We're going to get really busy in all the infrastructure related to these devices, and that uncertainty just gives me pause.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Mr. Miller, and I know you and I have talked about that. There's no doubt that the entire board needs to have input into what the plan is as far as tightening, the applications and other things. And so, as I promised in the email, we would set up a board workshop, and that's done through, Ms. Cox, and then we'll discuss it as a board and look at all the options. So,
and I appreciate that.
And I do want to be clear. We'll certainly do that sooner than later. We're not. You're right. We're already busy, but we'll certainly do that in the very near future.
Yeah, I appreciate that, and I find that agreeable. But I would assume that this is close to being at a point where a recommendation for a solution, not a recommendation for a plan, but a recommendation of a solution will be presented to the board.
Well, I don't want to make assumptions on what the board wants until the entire board has that discussion, and that's really not what this. I know it's connected, but that's really not what this item is about. This item is about the devices, not about the connection.
Well, respectfully, we had committees on this. I was involved in those committees. This is something that's been brought up not just by me but by other trustees. And if we're talking about we want to get the 7 of us to take a vote on whether we want to have this type of component in place, then I would say that I'm not sure how we concluded then that we wouldn't have it in place. I mean, the board didn't decide that we didn't need it. And so now if it's a requirement that the board would have to come together and agree that this is an important component. I think the workshops, we all come with our different expertise and recommendations. I think this is one that never got any opposition. So a conclusion that it wasn't a requirement, I think, is maybe just a miss.
Yeah, I would also suggest that the board did approve in 2015-16 a 3-year technology plan that what you're talking about was not part of the technology plan. And so I think this is an opportunity as the board circles around this topic to actually update our technology plan with the wishes of the board. So, Ms. Cox, I mean, this is certainly related, but I would ask that we consider putting this item to a vote.
Are there any other questions? I do have a couple questions myself, just for clarification purposes. So on the 9.7, you mentioned a comment asking about, or saying about maybe the data wouldn't, be as, long, I guess. So I'm just curious, do we know that the apps or the usage, we definitely wouldn't be able to do the upgrades with the 9.7?
We do not know that for sure, but what we do know is, history of devices that we have, in what year, what genre were they when they were purchased, and when they hit that 4 to 5 year range. In fact, we're running into that right now with all of our iPad 4s. We can't upgrade them. And that does cause some issues with compatibility, app compatibility, features perhaps that one grade level, or even it could even be in the same classroom where we have different types of devices that something works and something does not. So that's really coming more from history, showing that trend has been consistent. When the devices are at about that age, they're not upgradable.
Okay, thank you. Questions, Mr. Posnick?
So I just want to clarify, we are for option B, the recommended, we would be, for the classroom sets for PK through 3, we would actually not be purchasing the 9.7s until next year.
Correct. And
do you know where I'm going with this?
What I want to clarify is in option B, and really option A as well, when you look at reutilizing our current iPad Airs, it's very difficult to hit a moving target with technology. So if we're bringing, this time next year, hey, we're going to roll out the second phase, is it a 9.7? Is it what we're talking about today, or is it the equivalent of what the 9.7 is today? That's probably more likely. So when we get to that point, our thought would be there's going to be whatever is in that portfolio today, there's got to be something in its place. So that's what our assumption is. But our assumption is that it would be, 1, available, and 2, that it would be at or below the cost of what we have in this projection. Okay.
And Mr. Kobeck, just to be clear, the reason we want to reuse iPad Airs is because they're not 5 years old. They're some of our newer devices, so we want to get the usage out of those devices.
Correct.
Okay, so I have one more question. I'm sorry. So let's just say, next year we decide we're using the current systems, and we decide, okay, this isn't a good fit, and we do need to make a change. Is that an option for the board to do that, to make an amendment to if it's being proposed tonight?
Certainly. What this is a roadmap. Mm-hmm. It's a roadmap of what this could look like if you follow that map over a 5-year period. And if something's not a good fit, could we change it up for the second year? Certainly.
Not a one and done.
Pardon?
It's not a one and done.
No.
Yeah. Because technology is changing every day, and we don't know what that's going to look like
Correct.
in 5 years. So it could be something different. So I just want to be clear that the board has that option to make adjustments should we need to the plan.
Yes.
Okay, any other questions? Ms.
I just had a question with the Apple Care. Are we going to reevaluate the self-insurance now that we are we going to keep that in place? That doesn't have to do with this, but I want to make sure that is being looked at, because when we roll out and we say we have Apple Care, I guarantee you every one of us will get questions on why am I still paying $40 a year. So I just want to make that known in a public setting that we need. I want that to be reevaluated.
I think I'll give you 2 short answers. Yes, we'll reevaluate, but the reason why we still need to have the IFE, Ms. Sells, is because Apple Care will cover 3 years of the 5-year device and not the other 2 years. So we better build up a little bit of value in that account for those last 2 years of the use of those iPad 10.5s.
Those, I don't remember if we had, I know we had repair information that we had. I didn't know if we had, I can't remember, did we have projected? I think we were just looking at what we had and how we had seen that. I'd like to see that, because if I remember right, that was a substantial amount at the end, and I want to make sure that we're just not looking for another bucket to add money to all the time at the expense of our parents. So,
Yeah, that's a great point. I can assure you we're not looking for another bucket, but you are right. As the 5 years of our IFE account, the expenses in that account were up the last few years, and you know what Mr. Kobeck talked about was that's very probably because now we're dealing with 4 and 5 year old devices. So as things age, they're more apt to need repair. So
thank you, Timish.
Just one more quick question on the AppleCare, the stylus that we're going to have with these. Is that part of it, or how is that included?
The AppleCare would be on just the device in grades 4 through 12.
That would be another reason possibly to have the expense, because that's going to be a learning curve for students to keep up with.
Correct, but on that case, that the idea is that that's contained in the classroom. Yep.
Any other questions? Would someone like to make a motion?
I move to approve the contracts and anticipated expenditures for the purchase of Apple products and services and mobile device management, MDM, for vendors Apple in the amount of $27,671,776 from the 2017 Technology Budget Bond Fund Budget, DIR TSO 3789, and SHI Government Solutions in the amount of $277,393 from the General Fund Budget, PACE number P00132, as presented by administration.
It's a motion by Ms. Hassett. Do we have a second? Second by Ms. Prosnick. All in favor? Okay, that's Ms. Sheffield, Ms. Sells, Ms. Cox, Ms. Timish, Ms. Hassett, Ms. Prosnick. Any opposed? Mr. Miller, on 6-1. Motion carries. Consider approval of guaranteed maximum price for the following remaining 2008 bond projects: Bolin expansion and renovation, Jackson construction, Flower Mound 9 grade campus completion, Balfour Beatty. Mr. Ball.
Thank you, Ms. Cox. Both of these items were discussed at our work session on March the 5th. These are two projects from the 2008 remaining bond funds. The first recommendation is the guaranteed maximum price for the Bolin expansion and renovation project. That's this building and from here to Thrift City. And that guaranteed maximum price that's recommended tonight is $4,353,911 from Jackson Construction. And then the second recommendation tonight related to the guaranteed maximum price has to do with the Flower Mound 9th grade campus completion project. And that contractor is Balfour Beatty Construction. And the GMP recommended there is $1,455,315. And then the third part of the recommendation tonight has to do with signature authority that the superintendent, the chief financial officer, or the executive director of procurement and contracts be authorized to sign documents to implement the action should the board choose to approve it. And we've discussed this at the work session. There's really not much to add to this that we didn't discuss earlier this month, but certainly if the board has any questions, either myself or Mr. Fide is here, Mr. Hughes, be happy to answer any questions the board might have about it.
Thank you, Mr. Ball. Does anyone have any questions? Someone like to make a motion? Timish?
I move to approve the guaranteed maximum price of $4,353,911 for the Bolin expansion and renovation by Jackson Construction, and approve the guaranteed maximum price of $1,455,315 for the Flower Mound 9th grade campus completion project by Balfour Beatty Construction, and that the superintendent, chief financial officer, or executive director of procurement and contracts be authorized to sign any documents to implement this action as recommended by administration.
Thank you, Ms. Timish. That's a motion by Ms. Timish. Do we have a second? Second by Ms. Hassett. All in favor? 7-0. Oops. Motion carries. Consider responses to the request for qualifications 254218 RFQ for underwriting services and selecting qualified firms to serve on the district's future bond underwriting teams. Mr. Ball.
Thank you, Ms. Cox. This item also was discussed at some length at the March 5th work session. we did circularize a request for qualifications. We had 2 amendments to that, and we had 24 responses. We scored those responses with a team comprised of the district's investment officers. That was Ms. Trevino, Ms. Curtis, and Ms. Espinosa, myself in our office. Those are our investment officers, and then Mr. John Martin also participated in that. Each of those individuals scoring the responses worked independently, and then at the conclusion of each individual's work, we totaled those up, summarized them, and came up with the final scoring. And given the fact that we believe we're in a somewhat rising interest rate market, and we have done a fair amount of refundings over the last few years, and in view of the number of transactions that are likely on the horizon, we felt like 6 qualified firms would be the optimum number that we needed. And so the recommendation tonight is that the board deem the top 6 scoring firms as to be qualified members of the panel of firms that would serve as underwriters for the district's bonds going forward. And those firms are Raymond James, RBC Capital Markets, BOK Financial Securities, Citigroup Global Markets, Piper Jaffray, and J.P. Morgan. And certainly that's the recommendation of administration, and Mr. Martin's here to answer any questions the board might have. I'll certainly be able to answer any as well. So that's our recommendation, Ms. Cox.
Thank you, Mr. Ball. Are there any questions? Ms. Prosnick?
Yes, I just want to reaffirm some things that were said at our work session. We have in the past we have never used more than 4 firms in a refunding in a negotiated refunding.
I can't say that positively. I know that I can almost promise you that there's been no more than 5 in any particular transaction. It depends on the market at the time, Ms. Prosnick. So, for example, the last few have been large transaction have been 4, and that's a matter of the type of security, the final maturity, the markets at the time. So if it was a more volatile market, we might have, added someone in there at some point in time a few years ago. So there may have been 5 back there.
My point being is we have a buffer, if you will, in choosing 6 firms, so that not all of these firms are going to participate in every. I follow. Yes. I'm sorry, I wasn't clear. In every one of our refundings, we're not going to be using all 6 of these firms in a refunding,
I doubt
for example.
that we would ever use all 6 in one transaction. Thank you.
Thanks.
Any other questions? No? Would someone like to make a motion?
I move to approve the top 6 scoring firms as to serve on the qualified underwriting firms for the future bond sales as recommended by administration. The qualified firms recommended to serve as needed are as follows: Raymond James, RPC Capital Markets, BOK Financial Securities, Citigroup Global Markets, Piper Jaffray, and J.P. Morgan.
That's a motion by Ms. Hassett. Do we have a second? Second by Ms. Timish. All in favor? Oh. Mr. Miller?
Yeah, I just want. I'm not going to go into a lot of the detail why I'm about no, but I will refer people back to the board meeting and the concerns that I had registered around one in particular. I do think the district did a good job of vetting. I think that the rubric we were given is what we were given, right? And I would have probably inserted some things that are a little bit different in the evaluation, but that's what I would refer back to.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. It's a motion by Ms. Hassett, a second by Ms. Timish. All in favor? That's Ms. Sheffield, Ms. Sells, Ms. Cox, Ms. Timish, Ms. Hassett, Ms. Prosnick. Opposed? Mr. Miller? That's 6-1. Consider approval of employee referral incentive. Dr. Bonner.
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Cox, board members, we're excited to bring this back to you tonight for proposed action on our employee referral incentive. If you'll recall from previous conversation the last couple of months, this is an item that we did last year focusing on high needs teachers and instructional support positions. Those positions include American Sign Language, bilingual staff members, both teachers and aides, and then our, as I said a moment ago, our high needs special education teachers and aides. We paid an incentive to teachers for referrals to tap into their professional network, and we want to do the same thing again this year.
Thank you, Dr. Bonner. Are there any questions? Ms. Hassett?
Just want to make sure that employee referrals, that you got the names of all those students that we had for the Texas Association of
Let me tell you about that. We actually presented some specifics about our Grow Your Own program this morning to leadership team, and Claudia Bell and Kim Watson have already been into contact with Dr. Hadhanchi, so I didn't have to get their names because Dr. Hadhanchi knows them. But thank you.
Dr. Bonner, I just have a quick question. So is there a cap on the amount that we're going to be giving? And also, how are we promoting this?
Those are great questions. So each teacher referral that is ultimately hired would net the referring teacher $250, and then each aide would be $150. They can do a maximum of 5. Okay. And to your point on how we're promoting, last year we rolled this out kind of in a soft opening or a pilot. It was very late. We brought it to you earlier this year with the hopes of really putting the full court press on. Hopefully we can augment the numbers of participants, and frankly, if we don't, I would probably propose we not bring it back, honestly. But we're not looking for that outcome.
Thank you. Any other questions? Do you have a motion to approve?
Ms. Cox, I move to approve the employee referral incentive as a recruitment tool in the identification of high-need areas as recommended by administration.
That's a motion by Ms. Prosnick. Do we have a second? Second by Ms. Sheffield. All in favor? 7-0, motion carries. Consider casting votes for Region 11 Education Services, ESC Board of Director candidates for place 1, 4, and 7. Inside your packet, there is a ballot for each of you to check which candidate you would like to vote for, and then Jamie will be giving that to you, our results at the end of the meeting. Okay, so cast your votes. You were given information in board book on the candidates in your folder as well. Any questions?
So I have a question because, does anybody here on the board have any knowledge or familiarity with any of these candidates that could speak positively? Because there's 2 contested elections, and so I don't know any of these candidates.
I do not either. I just read their bios. Any other questions? Okay, we'll give that to Jamie at the end of the meeting. Or do you want them now? Yeah. Okay. Consider approval of a resolution for Superintendent of the Year nomination. Catherine, would you please read the resolution?
I would love to. Resolution, Texas Association of School Boards Superintendent of the Year. The Lewisville Independent School District Board on this date, March 19, 2018, resolved to nominate Dr. Kevin Rogers, Superintendent of Schools, for his exemplary and visionary leadership toward improving student outcome in our schools, adopted this 19th day of March 2018 by the Board of Trustees.
Thank you very much for this honor. It's a privilege to serve the students and staff and community of Lewisville ISD.
We appreciate you very much, Dr. Rogers, for the hard work that you do and the leadership team that you have in place. And I want to publicly thank Ms. Hassett for actually bringing this to the forefront for us, and she's done a lot of research and work in getting this done. So thank you, Ms. Hassett. Appreciate it.
And I just wanted to say that we wanted to recognize your accomplishments because you hit the ground running when you were interim. And one of the things I truly appreciate and respect about you is that you are always, I don't say that word often, ask my boys, you're always putting students at the forefront of conversations. And we greatly appreciate that.
And there
Just want everyone else to know it now.
There was no whereas in there, so.
No whereas.
Yes. Yes. Okay, on consent items, would someone like to make a motion? Are there any items that need to be pulled? Oh, the resolution? Okay. Okay, would someone like to make a motion on the resolution? I just assumed, sorry.
I'll make the motion. I don't think, I move that the board approves the resolution for Superintendent of the Year nomination of Dr. Kevin Rogers as suggested by Mrs. Hassett.
Okay, it's a motion by Ms. Sells. Do we have a second? Ms. Hassett? All in favor? Okay, that's 7-0, motion carries. Okay, now it's official. Okay, consent items. Is there any items that need to be pulled? No? Would someone like
Cox,
to?
I'll make a motion that we approve all the consent items.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Do we have a second? Second by Ms. Timish. All in favor? That's 7-0, motion carries. If there's no further business, this meeting is adjourned and the time is now 10:10. Have a great evening.